on what you were saying. Um, but also, what you're saying, Sean, is that the batting doesn't seem to be producing at all. Very low score so far.
In the Guyana trial matches you're talking about.
Yes, definitely. I just
Yeah,
heard.
yeah. They didn't even bat out 50 overs, and they're practicing for a 4-day tournament in St. Vincent. They start against the Windward Islands, and they made 127. And then the other team made 51 for one at the end. The captain, Nandu, he's gone already for 12. And Thaddeus Lovell, got 2 wickets also to back up Pomal's 4, and Niall Smith looking very good, back in form, close to good form, close to full fitness. He had 2 wickets also. So it was a good day for the bowlers at Everest. But back to the Windward Islands or St. Lucia. What is the standard of St. Lucia cricket, and when do you know when the Windward Islands team will be announced?
Well, I'm going to call Michael Finley. I was pretty busy today. I was out basically on the road and doing a couple of things. But I can call Michael Finley, and I can send you the email tomorrow, Sean, once it's available. But, you know, the publicity is very, very scarce.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not free flowing as the last time. There was a lot of journalists, on the ball previously. It doesn't seem to be happening. The West Indies board is not putting out, if the Windward Islands, maybe it's not picked. Maybe they're having their own trials, as Guyana is having their own trials. So I will check with Michael Finley. But just to go back to the low scores, um, this sometimes happens where you have low scores, trial matches, and then come the day, men stand up and put their hands up, and everybody's concentrating. Here's hoping that's the situation. But you might consider, Sean, having an interview with the coach and captain about the low scores, and is the coach worried, and why? Is it lack of concentration? Is it lack of fitness? Is it lack of practice?
Well, I was talking to the assistant coach, Gavin Ned, my fellow off spinner, and he was telling me that he's worried a little bit about the low scores, because the batsmen are playing poor shots. Not that they're getting good balls and getting balls that they can't score off of. That is okay. Well, not really okay. They got to pick the gaps and so on. But that would be better. It is worried that they're getting bad balls and playing bad shots. And so the shot selection process needs to be worked on. But he says there's a lots of time. There are 5 more days, including the 2 remaining days in this trial match. And then the final 3-day trial will be played at the iconic border, as trials or practice matches for the senior team return to that iconic venue. And hopefully on that pitch, border is relatively fast. We've had sunshine for the last couple of days, intermittent rain, but mostly sunny. And so we're hoping, well, I'm hoping that the Guyana practice sessions can bear fruit. What I want to see is more intent from the batsman.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got a question. Of the matches played so far, um, any outstanding performances from the senior players or from some young players?
Well, not really. The bowling has been better than the batting, but there are lots of talent in the team. People like Dindial getting starts, but not going on. Savory has gotten 60 something, I think 63 in the last game, and he's got 12 not out. tonight. He's going to come back tomorrow looking for runs. Chandra Paul has got a start. He's on 30, and he's going to come back tomorrow looking for some runs. The game starts at 9:30 for local viewers. So if you want to see first-class players playing in the practice matches, you can head down to Everest from 9:30 tomorrow. But generally, the batsmen are getting 20s and 30s, and many of them are batting in 2020 mode.
Well, they're gonna change gear. I mean, they've got to realize this is not white ball. Well, that's the trouble with white ball. It really brings on a lot of bad habits, and it's up to the coach, up to the captain to start, having long discussions. I did see where Prasad picked up a good set of wickets also.
Yeah.
He was outstanding last year in the trials, started very well. Do you expect him to be in the side?
Well, I don't know who's coming back, and that's a big question. If Moti will return for the regional first class season. When I look at Pomal at 37, almost 37, bowling, he bowls straight and you hit, I miss kind of bowling. And that match at Everest, well, the previous one was there also. The pitch is a big turner, especially when the tide comes in from the Atlantic Ocean. It's close to the Atlantic Ocean. And so the spinners, I don't want to look at the spinners and say that they're outstanding bowling in that practice matches because of the help. And the batters, the batters is my main concern. They go from one extreme to the other. Imlak scored 34 from almost 80 balls. And Chandra Paul is on 30. He's faced a lot of balls, but that's the way he bats. But
Okay, Sean.
Yeah.
Quickly, you talked about Everest being a turner. Couldn't the chairman of selectors, former West Indies batting star Ronnie Sarwan, ask for the preparation to be a bit more solid, a little more compaction? I mean, you can't expect batsmen to do well, low scoring on pitches which are turning on day one. Are the pitches too bowler friendly?
No, they are evenly balanced, but the ball is turning, which normally a spinner turns the ball. But it's not bad to bat on. The match next week is going to be at Boda, so we'll see a different kind of pitch. I think Boda is a bit faster. They've got a tinge of grass on it. So let's look at the next match, and then we'll see here the team being selected. Of course, we've not officially been told of the fixtures for the regional 4-day, which starts in April. We've heard it, by the way, rumors through the grapevine.
It has not been published anywhere. I know the Leewards have been practicing against the academy in Antigua. Barbados started first out of the blocks. Yeah. I assume that Trinidad is having the trials. I haven't read anything. But I want you to go back to the point that you said, we don't know what's the position with Moti. I have a question for you, Sean. The Barbados selectors have picked all their players, including the West Indies players who were, in fact, in the World Cup. They've picked all their players. Shouldn't the Guyana selectors have picked all their players and let them say they're unavailable, Sean? There's no point assuming that they're unavailable. You got to pick them. They will tell you, I've got a commitment to whatever white ball may be around.
Well, I assume, and this is just my assumption, that Sarwan and the selectors and the president of the Guyana Cricket Board, Mr. Bisoon Singh, have communicated with these players. They're not in the country as yet. Only Samson is back, and he is a relative white ball player. Scored a brilliant 100 in a sixes match. 6 overs, he scored 100. Altinos had a fundraising activity on Saturday, and Samson got 100. Kevin Sinclair got 98. But I was six hitting, big hitting, slugging sometimes. Only 6 overs. I was amazed that you can get 100 in 6 overs. But that's the evolution of the shorter game. Back to what you were saying. Those players maybe have been spoken to, but they're not in the country, so they are not involved in these practice matches. Maybe they would come back later next week for the border match. But people like Hetmeyer and Rutherford, they're all over the place. They're going to be playing in the IPL, and that clashes with the regional first class season.
I can understand that, Sean, but I know that last year that Shepard was keen to play in the 4-day. I got that from virtually the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying they should have been named.
Mm-hmm.
Let them say that unavailable, I've got a white ball commitment or whatever. I think that to me might have been a consideration to pick the players, let them say they got commitments. No one can blame them for that. But just my thoughts on what would have been better for the selection. And they would have read, hi, I'm selected. Let me tell the board, whatever. Anyhow, maybe we can move on.
Yes, and look at the 4-day first class tournament. This is the first time ever that one team in one country will play 3 consecutive matches against the same team. How do you look at this new fixtures?
It's a question of cost, a question of cutting the cloth to suit the day. The original idea to play everything in Antigua Barbuda was based on cutting the cloth. They have cut further down now, and they have created what Miles Bascom no doubt has come up with another brand new rabbit out of the hat. Now, you will be playing on a square. I hope all the pitches are really be prepared properly. But it means that the preparation psychologically by the team manager, by the coaches, has got to be good. And they've got to say, look, this is a different format. We're not home and away, right? We are playing at Arnesville. Let's look at the previous conditions. Let's look at the scores. Quite a few of our players have played there. The Windwards have got decent spinners. They have decent spinners. They have a leggy. They have a left arm. They're going to come with at least 3 or 4 spinners. I don't believe you're going to have too many quick bowlers. I don't believe you're going to have too many quick bowlers. So it's up to the coaching staff to start really preparing them mentally for the conditions in St. Vincent. As soon as I see the fixtures, I will certainly let you know. I'll call Michael Finley tomorrow, as you maybe suggest. I try to get information on the. In fact, after your show tonight, Sean, I will call Michael Finley, and if he gives me the 13 or whatever, I will email you it.
And it's good to see Jamaica getting back cricket. They've got now back the CPL franchise. They've got a new franchise, and they've gotten first class cricket return there. Barbados, I think, is going to play 3 games there, and then the top 2 will play in the finals in Antigua. I'm very confused about this format. I'm not sure if it's so or not, because of the lack of communication from the CWI. That's a big problem nowadays. I spoke about it to the Guyana Cricket Board, and now the CWI, it's like a big secret.
Well, it's been happening for the last 2 years. It's been happening since Phil Spooner moved on. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. I mean, look at the recent past. Look at the recent past. I think basically the one difference to the Jamaica matches you spoke about, I spoke to a friend of mine called Patrick Terlong, and I've asked him to double check. And he says that there are possibly 2 matches at Sabina, but there's a match at Chedwin Park that you know, Sean. That's about a half an hour outside of Kingston, Chedwin Park.
Beautiful cricket ground.
Yes, beautiful cricket ground, very country. But there will be a slight difference there. The pitches at Sabina is going to be different to the pitches at Chedwin Park. I don't have matches going to Montego Bay because you want to try and spread the cricket as much as possible. And then, you got to look at the format. The coaches have got to be very au fait with the rules and regulations, because you might not necessarily win all your matches. You might not necessarily top the table, so to speak. But you got to look at the bowling points, the batting points, and the players have got to be aware. All right, those who are doing the maths got to know exactly what the team needs in terms of bowling points and in terms of batting points. Do you agree, Sean?
Yes, I agree, and most importantly, the bonus points. They've gotten a bonus point system for so many runs in the first part of the game and losing the wickets and fast bowlers points. So the managers got to sit down and the coach with the teams before the start of the tournament and get those thoughts into their heads to know how they're going to be preparing, how they're going to bat, how they're going to bowl, which bowler is going to bowl when. Because I've seen, especially on the 17 level, which is no more, that's been cut out because of no funding. The under 17, the under 19 teams, the under 15, they have won more matches than the other team. Mostly Barbados, who play a lot of fast bowlers, and they've lost because of the bowling points. So all of those things have got to be taken into account when the tournament starting, preparations for it. Let's go for a short pause for business calls, and then we'll be right back.
Today with a nice vanilla flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or 2 of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla flavored sponge cake, donut shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana. Attention seafood suppliers, Dave's, the largest purchaser of fresh fish from Guyana, is interested in buying from you. Dave's deeply cares about bolstering the local economy and is looking to begin business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, bundari crab, sheriga crab, white belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Viceless, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes. squallable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Igloo sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free ice cream.
Impossible that you're singing about ice cream without added sugar right now. I mean, how's that going to taste?
It's the best, most delicious I've ever tasted. The premium French vanilla flavor is so rich and velvety. Plus, my gym instructor approves. It's great for my weight loss.
So it's really delicious? Like you aren't kidding me? The children! No added sugar could be healthier for them. And Grandpa Glenn, with his diabetic condition. You mean he could finally enjoy desserts after all these years? I have to go. I have to get this.
Grab Igloo's sugar-free ice cream before she does.
We touch everything. Tables, toys, countertops, door handles, sinks. Mighty Foam's all-purpose cleaner is my secret weapon. Easy and effective with no sticky residue. Mighty Foam all-purpose cleaner. Enjoy all of life's textures.
Yeah, well, just 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and this is the Sean Devers Sports Watch. I'm Sean Devers. We're talking with Red Sporera, and we'll soon joined by Basil Butcher Jr. He is out of the United States. He's a fitness trainer. Red, you're in St. Lucia, by extension, the Windward Islands. And the West Indies women will start their first match, the 2020 match against Australia on Thursday at 1 o'clock in St. Vincent. There was supposed to be a test match between the West Indies and Australia, and again South Africa, but that's been shelved. The last time they played was 2006 in a test match, with the last time West Indies women played test cricket. Do you think that we're far away from the test standard? We're not even batting out 2020 matches unless Hayley Matthews and Stephanie Taylor and Dottin make runs. So how is the cricket in St. Lucia? Is it difficult to get girls to play? Is cricket played in schools?
Cricket is not played in schools in the Caribbean, Sean. I've made that point many times on your program. We play everything. Secondary school girls swim, they play basketball, they play netball, they run track, right? They play volleyball. Yet the powers that be never consult, never speak to the education ministers and see if cricket can be played at the secondary school. Therefore, we're not developing a nursery. The only country that has a system of clubs, that is Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, yesterday, a young Trinidad girl scored 300 in a game, right? So, we keep repeating these things, and, the board doesn't, I wrote to the board saying, look, in the OECS, in the Windwards and Leewards, you have a couple of top clubs. You have Liberto in Antigua, you have Grosel. I'll just give you an example, right? Ask them to have a girls section. Ask them to have some 20 girls, but they must have their own space. They mustn't practice when the men are practicing, when the boys are practicing, right? Not even a reply, noted, right? So, you ask, why is our standard so low? Why are we not producing stars? And, I want to ask you a separate question about Latchman. But, unless we have the nursery, like this young Trinidad girl who got a triple century, that is going to make headlines throughout the world. And in fact, I will try and get you a number so you might be able to do an interview, right? On how long she's been playing. Now, back to the question of the test match. When was the decision made? Was the coach consulted? Was Haley Matthews and the senior players consulted? Was the cricket committee consulted? Yes, we would have been beaten, Sean. Yes, we would have been beaten. But our men got beaten in Jamaica in 2 days. So, we were accustomed to being beaten. But the point is that the leg spinner Fletcher, Campbell of Guyana, Taylor of Jamaica, and we can call a few more, right, who might not play a test match in their career. Sean, the pinnacle of playing cricket is to play a test match. Even if you play one, Andy Gantu played one, he got 112, but he played one, right? He played one. I think we might have missed an opportunity. You have to ask the question, will Haley Matthews play a test match ever? Will the young promising girls ever play a test match? I want to move on to Latchman. Very, very promising. Bowled Guyana to victory in St. Vincent. What's the position with Latchman?
Well, I'm not sure. I know she's not been picked, but I'm not sure why. I know they're Ashmini Munisar, the off spinner from Rose Hall, Kanji, and of course the captain of Guyana, Campbell. There are certainties in the team. This is a 2020 match. I figure in the ODIs there might be more space for players like Mandy Mangru and all of these guys, girls. But we don't know much about the system involving female cricket around the region, and I don't think there is any system at all. And there was a thought that you have to get a female person contracted or employed or doing it voluntary to run female cricket in conjunction with the cricket boards of the regional territories, and have a women's cricket committee, a subcommittee of the regional boards, specifically set or mandated to look after women's cricket. They had that before, I know for sure, in Guyana. Emily Dotson was the president of the women's cricket arm. But surprisingly, or not surprisingly,
that was a long
time ago. And Mark Harper was involved, I was involved. But what is the reason now? You're not reinventing the wheel. It's things that happened, as we say good evening to Basil Butcher Jr.
Good evening, Sean. Good evening to the great Rex Pereira. And good evening to your listeners and viewers. I was listening to the conversation for Reds in terms of Latchman. Latchman made herself unavailable for selection for the last regional tournament for personal reasons, and that's as much as we know.
Yeah.
In the public domain, that she did not make herself available to be picked, which is somewhat disappointing because she has a lot of potential as a leg spinner.
Yep.
Afi Fletcher although Afi Fletcher to me seems to be bowling the best of her career, she's closer to 40 than 30, right? So you have to have future planning in place and the various prospects who is going to step into that role in the next year or two, right? So she would have been could have been one of the candidates, but she did not participate in the last tournament. So, and I understand that. I'm not so sure, but Sean, you could find out when they had the camp late last year, and when the women were in Antigua for somewhat 6 weeks or something like that. I don't think she was part of that camp. You know.
Well, Buzz, a talent like that is not available. The public relations doesn't say due to studies at school or she started a new job or whatever. There's no details, right? That is a real talent. That's a real talent. Like the girl who got 300 yesterday in Trinidad,
I remember one of the things that really impressed me about Lachman was that over that she bowled to Haley Matthews in the women's CPL.
Exactly.
So I think she was defending 3 or 4 runs and took it to the third or I think the 4th ball. And you could look in her eyes from the TV or look in her face. You didn't see a player who was flinched. The situation did not awe her, which was something I was very impressed with. You know, that I said, this player seems to have the mental fortitude to play at the next level. So let's work on those physical things to upskill her, that to be able to compete at the next level. But that's not the story. And even too with in Guyana, when they were playing their tournaments, the competition leading up, she didn't play all the matches for Demerara.
Yeah, maybe Sean could do some
investigative reporting for us. He's on the ground.
Right. So maybe tomorrow he can find out about Lachman.
Yes. You've been giving your marching orders, Sean.
Yes, I will give my marching orders for my icon, Reds Ferreira. So I'll definitely work on that. Some homework for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but again, Reds was saying that we've got to get women playing separately from the men, but that's very hard. Even Haley Matthews played with the boys' team. She actually captained her school boys' team because
that's in a mat.
Yeah, there's so much limitations and limited resources for female cricket. Human resources I'm talking about. The pool is not big. True. So even in Guyana, the good girls have to play with the boys in their team because they're only maybe Trinidad, and even girls go to Trinidad from all the countries to play in their leagues. But it's a problem. Do you see someday and what needs to be done to get the regional teams, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad, the Leewards and the Windwards, to have complete women's teams to play in the different competitions?
Trinidad gone.
Yeah, I think I had posited an.
I'm talking about the CPL.
Yeah. I had posited a while ago, several years ago, when somebody said, when Jimmy Adams at the time was the director of cricket, that CWI needs a women's director. And I said, no. I said territories need a women director cricket in each territory. We don't need it at the West Indies level, because the pathway has to be built up in every territory for girls from the young ages all the way up to what would be a regional team. You have the pathway similar to what we already have for the boys, and I feel like until you have that in place, then you would be able to have the environment to develop a pool of good enough players that you can have a CPL tournament with the full gamut of players, because we see the regional tournament, and by no means those standards are adequate to field teams more than the 3 teams that they have playing in the CPL right now.
And they're dominated by the overseas players. They're dominated.
Exactly. Every time the CPL comes, it's the overseas players clearly dominate. Barring a Haley Matthews if she plays. You know, our young ladies, our young women are not able to match with their overseas players. You know, because one of the issues is that our cricket is not professionalized, right? And even it's even more a deficit with the women. Whereas these overseas players, when they come in, they're coming in from professional setups, even if some of them are not even playing at the highest level frequently. But their cricket system is professional. These women they're professional cricketers, right? Our women are not in that ilk, even though you're paying some of them contracts in the territories. What are they doing when they're at home?
Okay, good point. I think the leewards have become stronger of late. I think you have a couple of players coming up. I think the windwards have become stronger. And the CPL authorities must look either for a windwards
Combined
islands again, yeah, or give them a chance to play. The other thing I'd like to say on a sad note, I just got an email, and what she this close to you.
You're talking about my cousins,
Roland Butcher's wife was passed.
Yes, Cheryl passed earlier today.
Condolences from all of Guyana to Cheryl and her family. Well, she's
to Roland,
no longer, to Roland Butcher and his family. Because Cheryl is no longer be able to hear my condolences. I hope she's gone to a better place.
She's been getting treatment.
Yeah, she had been ill for a while now. That's why Roland and her had been in the UK for a while, you know, because she'd been getting treatment there, and you know he had kept us up to date with what the last time he had communicated, you know, we were just pretty much, it was just a matter of time, you know, and I got a text from him this afternoon saying that she had passed, you know. Really sad, really lovely woman. I first time I met her was in 2008. Me and my brother and my dad and my mom met us in Barbados for a test match, and Roland told me that she worked down at the BC office. So I went down there, and I asked her, I said, is Mrs. Cheryl Butcher here? And she looked up. She said, me. I'm sure. I said, why? And I told her why it wasn't. She got up and came up and hugged me. And it was like almost, you know, we had known each other for years, you know. I know she'll be greatly missed. You know, Roland had been, going through this whole process. You would not know when you see him and so on that his wife he was going through this with his wife, you know. He had been a rock in terms of that, yeah.
Even he was promoting his book. He was being treated, and I heard from him, you know, on many occasions, and I asked him how is the wife, and he says, well, it's a process. She's being treated, and this evening, just before Sean joined me, since she died at 8:33 UK time.
And talking about deaths, yesterday there was a fantastic farewell for former Guyana youth and senior fast bowler Calvin Belgrave. He died at the Georgetown Public Hospital, suffering from a fever. He had some ailments prior to that, but all the family came in. I got to see some of his brothers, and so some of them I've never seen in like 10, 20 years. Cleon and those guys, Shelon, his sister, his mom, they got a heroes entrance with a batter arch. When they went into Border, he played for GCC, and then he was buried next to Clyde Butts, the late Clyde Butts at Perseverance, Mycone. So it was a good funeral. They got a lot of politicians came and had give speeches at the church and at the wake, and he had two police escorts carrying him up the East Coast. So it was a good send-off for Calvin.
John, there's been no details about his playing career. You know, the clubs he played for, his opportunities for Guyana. Was that?
Of course, I wrote a whole story on that.
Yeah, but Sean, you know,
I played with him for 2 years at the under 19 level. Actually, the story had the picture with our team in 1989. The picture was taken at Border.
Great work, Sean. Great work.
He died at 55.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, great work.
Because he also played. He also played a couple of second 11.
Yeah, in England.
For Derby.
Yeah, and he played as a teenager. He got a contract to play in Holland as a teenager at 18.
Yeah,
he also played in Barbados, where his grandparents were born.
Yeah, because we had a conversation when he was telling me when he had come up to the U.S. to play, that Derbyshire people were interested in him as a fast bowler playing there, and also the possibility of qualifying for England.
Yeah.
And he would have been shuttling between South Africa in the winters and then come back in the summers. And he was about 21 years old.
Yeah.
And he said to me, his eyes were set on playing for the West Indies.
Yeah.
Right? So he didn't jump on the opportunity, you know.
He didn't do a better.
No, he did not do a Betel. But maybe had he done a Betel, maybe he would have been even even if he had not made England, he may have had a really good county career where, you know.
Okay, we have thousands of listeners. Maybe they're keen to know whether he was quick.
Yes, he was reasonably quick.
Pace. He had decent pace. Yes.
His biggest moment in first-class cricket was when he bowled down Sir Richie Richardson at Border.
Mm.
And and talking about that, I had a conversation with Mavindra Dindyal's father the other day, and he was telling me that the same time that Betel was offered to play in England, his son was also offered at the same time, but he decided to leave his son to play for Guyana and hopefully the West Indies, senior cricket and so on. And he says that may be the biggest regret of his life.
Yeah, well, so the thing about it is Betel wasn't offered to play for England. Betel got a scholarship.
Not offered to play for England, to go to England.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I want to add that so that put it in more context.
Yeah.
That he let the kid go. There's no guarantee you're going to play for England, but the cricket development and the exposure that he would have gotten would have probably enhanced him in terms of the getting to the dream of playing for the West Indies. Look at Shea Hope. Shea Hope went to high school in England also, you know, as many Bajans, because from what I understand, these high schools actually come to Barbados and recruit.
Yeah, especially in the Sir Garfield Sobers tournament.
Yeah, no, but they actually, because I was on a program one day with the guy, the school that Betel went to in London, and he was saying that he was coming to Barbados. They were having an expo with all these various high schools in England for recruiting people. So they do it in England. He said they were going to Barbados and Antigua, right? and it's not an accident why you find more cricketers from those two parts of the world play in England in recent times or so than any other Caribbean territory, because they're afforded the opportunity more than elsewhere.
Well, they
Just-
call Barbados Little
Little
England.
But Sean, just on Bethel, Bethel's father Graham
Mhm.
and the Joe Root family were very, very close.
Yeah,
Outside of cricket,
yeah.
And-
Joe Root's father and Graham played together.
yes. And Root wanted him to come to Yorkshire. Now, I heard from a deep throat in Barbados that Graham realized that he was about to be picked at the under 15 level for the West Indies, as far as I was told. And he said, boy, we have to make a decision, right? You might get a pick for the West Indies. We might not make the cut. He might not get much cricket playing for the West Indies. Once he plays for the West Indies, England were out. And they decided that they would put their eggs in one basket and ship the eggs to England. Anyhow, I think there are a lot of things to talk about, Sean. One of the things I saw today, I was involved in a discussion, is the World's 40 Over coming to Guyana in October. 14 countries coming to Guyana.
What age?
At least
What age?
over 40.
Over 40. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Masters World Cup. It's run by Raj Singh, has got the
Oh,
West Indies
Raj Singh.
franchise. Yeah,
Oh, big man cricket.
yeah.
Okay.
But Sean, was there any publicity yet?
Yes, there was a press conference and so on and so
Okay,
forth.
great.
Yeah. And
Well,
they're playing at different grounds, not only the international grounds. They're playing
No,
at,
I-
of course, all the
know-
international grounds and, of course, some rural grounds.
And more will be
Yeah,
played.
yeah.
Sure. I can send Butch a copy of the program I did.
Okay. Cool.
But that's, if you multiply 14 teams by 20, it's a significant amount of people. They have to go into hotels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to
They
help
have-
sporting tourism in Guyana.
Of course.
That is really tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism is not when you have a thing where all Guyanese are taking part. It's when people
Come
come
in, yeah.
Outside people.
pay their way, pay their hotel, use restaurants, right?
Yeah.
And the spin-off is that your officials, your players get a chance to play, and that there's a whole conversation. I really hope that the new Minister of Tourism, who I think has a background in hockey, may like to, investigate the possibility of a sports tourism program. But let's move on. We have a situation. We have a situation where Butch, we were talking about the new format before you joined us, and the fact that we're going to.
Or you mean the upcoming first class season?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy going to St. Vincent, that's a spinner's paradise, boy.
Yeah, right.
And they're going to play 3 matches against the same team in the same conditions.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. Ghana will be playing Windward Islands 3 games.
Yeah.
All 3 games against Windward Islands. Oh,
And
I mean,
the Barbadians, I think, will be going to Jamaica, and then the final 2 will play in Antigua or something like that. But it's not
Yes.
officially been released yet, and it's close. The teams are already preparing, and even the teams are not too sure of where they end up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't know the rules of the tournament yet. Whether it's first innings points, whether it's outright, what's the bowling points, what's the batting points. All of that is to come, and it underlines what Dr. Shallow had promised: transparency, accountability. That is not happening, judgment.
I mean, I heard you guys talking earlier about the not having the test match with the women. That was a change of plans
Yeah.
too, and I think that has to do again with the lack of funding, where the West Indies board finds themselves.
Yep. But I was saying to Sean, Fletcher will not play a test match. Taylor will not play a test match. Campbell will not play a test match. Haley Matthews might not play a test match. I mean, the pinnacle of playing cricket is to play a test match.
I understand that they're going to reschedule that test to, I think England is coming to the Caribbean next year, and they will play that test match against England.
But they've got to do a lot of preparatory work to get up to test standard. If you can't bat at 50 overs, how would you bat 4 days in a women's test match?
I agree.
You look at the scores in the regional senior women's cricket, 54, 35.
But Sean, Haley Matthews might get 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then West Indies make 150.
Well, we got beat in 2 days in Jamaica, so the women need to have their day in the sun.
Yeah. But they got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
The last Guyanese that played Test cricket was Indomati Gordial and Candace Atkins, and they're both now in the US.
US and Canada.
Yeah.
And the only West Indian to pick 100 in a test match is Nadine George from St. Lucia against Pakistan. I mean, but one of the things I have learned recently is that the coach, I think, did an interview in Antigua, and the coach is saying, they spent 4 weeks in Antigua. Then they go back to their respective islands, and the program is not carried out. There's nobody who is going to continue the program in terms of skill, in terms of fitness, right? And the coach is not seeing the players often enough. The coach don't live in the region, and the program that he sets is not being followed, right? So what you do in Antigua, when you go back to your backyard, you're not doing the same thing.
Well, coaching women is very different from coaching men because of the biological features of women. They have their menstruation period, all of these things. So there's going to be a female coach and assisted by men, but there are not too many female top-level coaches around the Caribbean. And that's another problem.
I don't think women have to be coached by women. You have to be qualified to understand there's a difference in coaching women versus men, because I've had the opportunity to coach both. That's why I can speak on that. But the problem is this, again, what Red's spoke about there, that's been an ongoing problem going on. I mean, I had conversation with Courtney Walsh about the challenges of coaching the women, and I asked him pointedly that exact question. I said, well, she went to the programs when the women go back home. He said, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
The women go back home, you come, because I've seen, and I could talk more from a Guyana perspective, because I know the players more in Guyana than elsewhere, that who have gone to many of camps, and they go back home, there's no cricket. So how are they going to implement what they did at camp to upskill themselves, that when next time we see them on a cricket field, we see an improved player? So to me, the West Indies board was throwing money at the wrong thing, right? And you continue throwing money at these camps, and you're not getting no improvement. So you got to rethink the way in which you could upskill.
And these players still have to go to normal men's club. Mandy and Cherian now joined GCC, but they haven't played a match yet. Schultz is playing for Maltinos. And so these girls have to go to predominantly men clubs in men's environments and play with the men team because there's not sufficient players to form women's team. In Berbice, that's slightly better, but still not good enough. Foster has a couple of girls there at Rose Hall Town, and I'm now seeing Kanji, where Munisar comes from, developing women's cricket, but they don't have the magnitude of numbers.
Yeah, because there was a time in Georgetown, I know, where on the 15 tournament, there was a women's team that played in that under 15 tournament.
That was when
but people like Wallison,
yeah,
the one Wallow and them were playing. Because Wallow told me about that they in Georgetown they had and they all practiced regularly and so on.
Buffy was playing with them there. She hit the ball hard out of the ground.
As well as
and gentlemen, why can't we do what Barbados done?
That's what Barbados does too.
Yeah, they play in the second division.
Second division, yeah. They have a women's.
Why can't we get the Guyana team to play as a group in what used to be White Cup in the old days?
Because there's no longer third division being played in Guyana.
Well, at least second division. Sure.
Yeah, at least second division.
I would actually prefer those girls to play in the age group competition against the boys, rather than throw them in second division.
Yeah,
because
there's a comment
you don't want them to be overwhelmed.
There's a comment from Sion Brown. He says, so why not create a system where at least one female player plays for each fourth division team?
The point here is more you're looking to develop a cadre of women, right? So just having one in a club and
not one in a club, one in the fourth division team. They can play second division and so on.
Yeah,
but like the West Indies players who play for Guyana,
you don't want them to be overwhelmed playing in a men's team. But if they're good enough to compete, why not?
You know, myself and Tremaine Smart played together, bowled in tandem for Burmine, and that was a men's team.
Right. Well, she is probably good enough to do so.
Played longer.
Yeah. Same Wallison.
Yeah.
When she came up to the US, I brought her to a men's club to play, right? And when I brought her, all of them was, they see a woman and there was a lot of hesitance and so on. And when she went and bowled, and she should have gotten 2 wickets, they dropped their catches. I got a call Monday. This is Sunday, the game played. I got a call Monday from the manager of the club. Butch, you could bring back the girl next week. The girl could play.
Well, back in the days, Reds would know there was Junie James, Margaret Chico Walcott, and the Kanai sisters, all of these players, Junie James, there was Pat Legall's daughter, all of them played cricket regionally, and the standard was high. I remember a girl from St. Vincent, her father was an umpire. Golden Greaves was her father. She was a class batter. Yeah. But those things have not generated any interest, so it just flopped.
It fell by the wayside. I remember, Sean, in the 90s when I started coming home every year, going at DCC, and they had a bunch of women would come and practice cricket there in the afternoons in the early 90s, and then it fell by the wayside.
India toured Guyana.
Yes, 1983, the first time I watched cricket at Boda, I saw Guyana playing India, but I thought it was a men's game until the Indian wicketkeeper at the water break got her long hair and just fluttered it away. And that's when I realized that it was girls' cricket. The standard was very high.
Yeah, I think that's why I say, again, we have to have a women's director. You have with a budget, with the resources. That person would have the resources to develop a pathway to get young girls from primary school, secondary school, to teach them the game. Because today now, a woman can make a career out of playing cricket and have a good career throughout with our athletic years, to that commensurate with other professions. It's not like how it is in the past, so in the past there was probably apprehension on parents to let their daughters play cricket or whatever. But
the ball hard.
Yes. No, I think that apprehension, they need to make sure you educate the parents, etc., that there's viability in these young women playing cricket. I remember speaking with the outgoing CEO of West Indies, Johnny Graves, and he was telling me that next year a woman playing for the West Indies would be making with all the cricket that they're going to play, somewhere in the region of $250,000 US, right, for that year. So it tells you that the remunerations of women's playing cricket is something that young girls can aspire to.
And even if you don't play the cricket physically, you could be an umpire, scorer, a match referee, because there are lots of women scorers, umpires coming up now, and that's also in the advantageous aspect of being a female cricketer or a female cricket official.
I agree.
On how many female umpires you have in Guyana? Look.
There are a few. Yeah, there's a few, but some of them are older. The younger ones are going through the process, getting the good grades, but they're not coming out to actually do the physical part.
Okay, all right. But just to end on this women discussion, which is, to me, is healthy, and I hope the Minister of Education may be listening to you.
Yeah, good night to Sonia Parang. She's a good friend of mine. Actually, I went to her with Alvin Kaieteur. He's looking for a foundation. He's got a foundation and he's looking to sell books to schools. He's gotten a good response from most people. He's autographing them. His book is called Colorblind, and that is because he didn't look at color. He learned from the dressing room. There are lots of different aspects of people, and so that's colorblind, not because he couldn't see color. Anyhow, let's go for a commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Sundays are for KFC Sunday Special Bucket Deal. Buy a 6 or 9 piece bucket meal and get an extra piece of crispy, juicy chicken. Or go big with a 15 or 20 piece bucket meal and get 2 extra pieces. That's even more of your KFC favorites to share. So gather the family, call your friends, and make it a Sunday feast like no other. Only at KFC, where Sundays are made tastier. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street, or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530, 227-0904.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you, and now available nationwide. Another convenient size packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here. The 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
Now Milko, National Milling Company of Guyana.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer. How do you stay clean?
It's here! Igloo Ice Cream Fruit Bars. 4 mouth-watering flavors. Mango, pineapple, strawberry, and soursop. A beautiful combination of real fruit and igloo ice cream. Go old school with fluty popsicle. Classic flavors and refreshing goodness. Available at Igloo outlets and all your favorite shops.
Well, welcome back to the Sean Devers Sports Watch. I want to thank all my sponsors for keeping this program alive. It's the longest running sports program in Guyana. And reminding you that Survival Supermarket is now got a branch at Diamond. So they've got one on Cherry Street and they've got one on Diamond. So you don't have to come from the East Bank to Georgetown to get wonderful products from Survival Supermarket.
Don, how long has it been running? How long has it been running?
It's
Don?
been running about 10 years or over 10 years.
Well, nice. I did Action Line 5 years.
Young people wouldn't even know what is Action Line. Action Line was a program that a live calling program on the radio. Yeah. But you did sport in Action Line. That sporting Action Line, yeah.
Right? I think you were doing I think it was the donations or something, and my mother wanted one of us to call in for us to donate, right? And me and my other brother right after was like, nah. My youngest brother, he called in and he told you who he was, and you and him had a little conversation and so on. Yes, I remember that.
There was a great personality called the Macintosh. And he will begin by saying, well, in my last broadcast, I said the following. Not in my last call. He took it very seriously.
And there was a guy called Mr. McDougall. He always called on Action Line and Sporting Action Line. He was the father of the Academy of Maltinos. He's now departed.
I also remember, Reds, I think you were a guest on Action Line with Brent Chapman.
Yeah.
And when you had just come back from Australia with the 75-76, and Brent Chapman was questioning you, why did you say in the commentary booth, yes, he edged the ball like you, right? And you said you would say, I would say things like, and he's taken that second slip, because if I came out and said that he got edged, they would kick me up from the booth.
Exactly.
You would not hear a West Indian perspective. So once you heard the ball was caught at second slip, that should tell you
that it was edged.
You know, Brett was a great journalist.
Yes.
I'm in touch with his brother, but Brett and I covered the Olympic Games in LA, and he was a delightful person. Brent was before his time. Brent was before his time. A great young journalist.
There were some good broadcasters like Bruiser Thomas,
Cecil Hunter,
Basil Bradshaw.
But when I was growing up,
Stanley Moore.
When I was growing up, the Argosy and the Graphic. And
yes.
You had Charles Chichester.
That's my cousin.
You had MacDonald Dash, right? You had Seddy Wilshire. You had a lot of Writers. There was a gentleman. It's just gone out of my head. Oh, God.
The Harper's brothers' father was a editor, the Guyana Chronicle. It was the
Yes,
graphic
very
then.
much.
Yeah. And
Knew him
Mr.
very well.
Leon Horatio, good night to you, Leon. He's still my editor. He wrote about me playing school cricket inter-house final. and now he's still my editor. And I'm 56.
Sean, you're very lucky. He writes about you. He wouldn't have my name in his paper.
Why is that?
Je ne sais pas. Best French. Don't know why. I mean, I try to be constructive in my articles, but you know, where there's life, there's hope.
Yes.
No, but we had some outstanding journalists, you know. Really, really. I mean, you look forward to the Chronicle, you look forward to the Argosy. And in those days, you got scorecards.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
Chronicle used to do the First Divisions matches on a Tuesday with all the scorecards. Now that's impossible because some of the scorers score on books. They put I this, B this, and the standards of everything in sports has dropped tremendously right across the Caribbean. And we are more technologically advanced now, and that's surprising to me.
Yeah.
And you know, the streaming really has brought the cricket to the people.
Yes.
Some of the younger generation of commentators don't understand that the streaming, you don't have to do ball by ball.
No, because we already can
most of the young commentators come out of a radio background, and so it's hard sometimes to adapt and adjust to that kind of commentary.
But that's why need some training.
Yeah.
Don't just put them on the air.
If there's a preparation prior to the tournament,
Yes.
you said, gentlemen, you're going to see what Basil Butcher is going to
you
be.
commentate like TV.
Yes.
Look at whether he's playing a lot on the front foot or he's a back foot player. You know, there are little things like that. You know, you don't have to bring in the bowler. You know, you don't have to say, and he square drive. You could say, well, you know, he's really playing that shot too early. If he played it a little later, he can beat backward point.
Yeah, you got to be more analytical, and that's another problem with some of the young commentators. They're good commentary, but they're not former players, or they don't know about the basic technique and those things about in cricket.
Well, here's hoping that we can have a few more workshops and really point out those things, and the people involved in the streaming must also have some knowledge of what they want the commentators to do.
But I still think there's a place for radio, because if you were in a car, you won't have, even if you got streaming on your on your phone, Facebook, how could you look and see while you're driving? You don't even have to have your phone in your hand, and if there's a TV commentary, then you would miss out all the aspects if you don't see. And there are lots of people in the country areas, especially in Essequibo, deep into Essequibo, Borby, still don't have facilities like YouTube. So they miss out all the action because it's not on radio or the national TV.
Correct. You're perfectly correct. There is an area for radio. I mean, you know, a game being played, a man in the quarantine, a man down in the Pomeroon River where I'm from, you know, you want to hear the ball by ball. But, you know, we are, you know, we got to be realistic. Sponsors want
to see visual.
Yeah, we get mileage, you know. But you know, you gotta keep sort of believing, and I think commentators must, you know, really do their preparation, do their homework. You know, I mean, go and watch the cricket, learn a little more about the background and things like that. Oh yes, the name just came to me, Jake Crooker.
Yeah.
Jake Crooker is the man who told me how Border was named. You grow up hearing Border, GCC, DCC. He said Border was named after a liberal Englishman who had an estate and bequeathed some of the land for making a cricket ground.
Yep.
He acted as governor, and Jay Crooker said he later died in Paris. I mean, Jay Crooker was just a well of knowledge.
A wealth of history.
And many people do not know that GCC, before it went to Border, was stationed at the parade ground.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that was where the first class match in 1865 was played. And then they had a reciprocal match at the Garrison Savannah, where there's horse racing and a lot of other things.
Well,
and Sean,
the Garrison first, and then they had the return game, where I think British Guyana won by 12 runs.
Yes.
Reds would remember this gentleman, Kenny Wishart.
Yeah. His stand is not existing anymore at Border.
They used to call him Caesar when he arrived at Border, because he and the two other guys, maintenance people and grounds run, he would walk around the entire ground inspecting. Border was immaculate, and I was watching a game, inter-county game. You remember when the grass grew high by the GFC side there before the World Cup, and somebody hit the ball over there, and men, like Reds, you're playing cricket out in the street, somebody hitting the bush, and you're searching for the ball. These guys searching for the ball in Border. I'm looking at this thing. I said, Kenny Wishart must be rolling in the grave to know that a ball lost in Border.
He had a son called Robin who was an off spinner.
Yes, I heard of that. The old one told me about it.
And a lot of the young people now don't even know the past cricketers. I took Kaieteur around the place, and more people knew me than Kaieteur, and he's far more famous than me.
That's surprising. That's surprising. That's why, Sean, the thing that you and others have been advocating, they put those names on the stands.
Oh, I've been doing that since Sri Lanka played West Indies in 2028. 2008. And Reds Barrera, my name going on the media center, his hands down. Nobody else in Guyana is better than Reds Barrera to put on the media center.
Without a doubt.
But there are kind of politics involved, and I stopped advocating. Both governments.
I was on the Mason show once, and the new current junior minister came on, and Andrew asked me if I have anything, and I said, only thing I want to say is that y'all need to name Providence Clive Lloyd after Clive Lloyd, and put the names of the great Guyanese cricketers on the various stands, etc., etc.
Yes.
Right?
And they said that people will be divided because of the names put up, but some of those same names was on Border, and no one had a problem with it.
Yeah, because, for example, a youngster look up and say they got to stand Butcher Solomon Kanai. They Google and they find out, oh Lord.
Why were you so famous to be put on a stand? You must have done something great.
Yeah, Frederick Kaieteur, and then you got the Hoopers, the Chandapal,
Sarwan,
etc. Sarwan, so when those they would be introduced to because a lot of these youngsters don't realize the great cricketers that came out of Guyana.
and the bowling ends easy, Colin Crawford, Lance Gibbs.
Crofton Gibbs.
and gentlemen, I don't believe it's politics. I think that they just have to look at the outstanding players. I mean,
yeah, that's easy.
Hooper Sarwan,
Yeah.
Prof. Gibbs, the ends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Fredrickson Butcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chandra Paul, the pavilion, as Brian Lara got the pavilion,
Yep.
right? The Ron Legal scoreboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Paji Benji Square, you know.
Yes.
And they could even name the gate and the nets, Roger Harper nets.
Yes, well, by all means, the administration could be Wishat Kamash, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have one difference with young Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
I would name the ground the Kalai Lloyd.
Okay. All right.
Kalai Lloyd. He was our first great player.
Yes, I don't I don't disagree with that at all. I was just saying Lloyd because he's probably the most decorated Guyanese cricketer.
Yeah.
So that was the only rationale. But in terms of our first great player, yes, Rohan Kanai.
I was even talking to Kaieteur, and he admitted that. Well, I told him he was the second best batsman that Ghana produced after Rohan Kanai, and he had no problem with that. Rohan Kanai is the best batsman that Ghana ever produced.
You're gonna get yourself.
You'll get a lot of argument on that
2.
one, Sean. You'll get a lot of argument on that one.
So who do you think would be the best Ghana batsman?
Sean, I'm not being biased. I put in my father ahead of Kaieteur.
Oh.
Okay, not being biased. But
not being biased.
the monk stand, I will name it after Eddie Grant and David Martin. The monk stand.
Well, David Martin sang a song, "Where Are Your Caribbean Heroes? Show Them to Me." They don't have statues. And even at Sabina Park, there's a statue when you're going into the media center of George Headley. And there's a statue outside the Sir Vivian Richards ground.
And there's a statue outside.
Garfield Sobers, yeah.
There's several statues outside of Kensington.
Yeah, so Garfield Sobers is one. Tourists go there and take pictures.
That's the first one. Now they got
Butch.
Yes.
Is a Guyanese. His father was a British colonial estate owner.
Mm-hmm.
Got a child with
the football player for Scotland,
Andre Watson.
Yeah.
Yes, I know of him.
He played professionally in Scotland.
Yes.
He led Scotland 5 times.
Yes.
He led Scotland against England at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
No, it might have been played at a first division club and beat them 6-1. Now, I would like to see that man being recognized, right? That man be recognized. I mean, he was outstanding, and any Guyanese can Google him. And I have this in front of me. It's Andre Watson.
Yep.
Andre Watson.
Mm-hmm.
And I can send Sean an article on Andre Watson tomorrow.
I read somebody had posted in one of our chats again, because I read the story of him about 5 years or so ago. You know, they were talking. It was something with outstanding black athletes in the UK, right? And then when I read about this guy, he was born in Guyana. His mother was a slave. A slave, and the slave owner had a child with his mother, and he took the son. And when he went back to England, and he grew up with his father, and so on and so forth. And
he was outstanding.
Played football at a very high level. So because it was there, because you know, a lot of people talk about professional footballers in England, black ones, and sometimes they often start at Clyde Best and the Bermudan Clyde Best, and probably a little bit before Clyde Best, when this was a guy that played way before them.
Oh yeah.
The
first person.
Yeah. Go ahead.
First person I heard about was Lindy De La Pena, the Jamaican JBC sports editor.
Mm-hmm.
He played for Charlton and Middlesbrough.
Okay.
And Mendonza, who played for St. Barnabas, his son played for Charlton, and at one time he was the leading Division One scorer. Division One scorer. Right?
Yeah, because I have a friend who is a cousin to that Mendonza, and a childhood friend who lives in England. We were communicating on Facebook, and he told me he works with a guy that his father's Guyanese, and he was a professional football player, talking about Mendonza.
Yep.
Well, in boxing, there's 7 world title holders in boxing, 2 female and 5 males. But I believe Reds would know there's a guy who was fighting. He was fighting not for Guyana. He's a Guyanese for the British. He was fighting under the British flag back in the days. You remember that guy, Reds? The Forest.
Rod Turpin beat
Yes.
Sugar Ray Robinson at Earl's Court in 1954.
Yes.
His father was in fact Guyanese.
Yes.
Randolph Turpin.
Yeah, Randolph Turpin.
I cried when I watched that fight. Randolph Turpin, really outstanding. I mean, to beat Sugar Ray Robinson wasn't, easy at all. He was the best.
Sugar Ray has been reputed to be the best pound for pound ever.
Exactly.
All right, we're running out of time. Any closing remarks from you guys? Time is flying, and this year is going by so very quickly. I am even tempted to say the world is turning quicker.
Yeah, it seems to happen as we get older. I just like again to thank you, Sean, and I always enjoy when I speak to Reds, because Reds is a great custodian of the history of.
He's a walking encyclopedia in sports.
So I am one of those keen, particularly cricket historians. That Reds would always impart things about that young people need to hear about. About the history, the shoulders upon which they stand.
The pioneers.
I mean, even at clubs, and quickly, I remember one day me and Reds were talking about the Christiani brothers, and a lot of youngsters at DCC probably wouldn't even realize that some of those, some of the Christiani brothers played at DCC at one point and played Test cricket.
And a lot of the younger people say that they were not there at the time. So, and I know about George Headley. He was the first black captain. One Test match, George Headley. But people talk about Frank Worrell. But Headley actually captained the West Indies team in one Test match. And they say I was not there. So how do I know? Research, read.
No, but Sean, I never saw Clyde Walker, Everton, Mixer, none of them play, but I know who they were.
Yeah. Reds?
Yep. Well, Sean, I will call Michael Finley, see if I can get the fixtures. I'll call Michael Finley and see if I can get the Windward squad, okay? And you are going to get on to the Latchman family and find out how the young lady doing, because I think that she's just too much of a talent not to be mentioned when left out of a West Indies squad, left out of a West Indies squad. And I think there's another Burmese player who gets an opportunity, does well, and doesn't come back at all. She's a bit of an all-rounder, Sean.
Yes, Gajanabi.
No, I'm talking about another Burmese player who is left out.
Grimman?
Beg your pardon? Grimman, yes. Well done. Yeah. In and out. Ghaznavi scored the most runs in the last West Indies tournament. He got 30s and 40s. And for some reason, maybe fitness or maybe attitude, I don't know. But
it can't be fitness, Reds.
She's very fit.
When they got Joseph playing.
Well, I've always said they should be fit to standards. There's not fit to standards. But
that's true.
Well, I saw a girl in the Indian or the Australia League, a fat wicket keeper.
Yep. But she is quite good.
Yes, she's quite good.
Yes.
That's like Moen Khan's son. He came and played for Guyana. He's very huge, but he's good and he hits the ball very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, this is where we've got to go. We've overdone our time by 3 minutes.
All right.
And on behalf of Red Sporera, the walking encyclopedia, and of
Please,
course,
please.
The fitness guru of Basil Butcher Jr., I'm Sean Devers on behalf of my technical man saying if you can be good, then be careful.
All right.